let's begin with the following. So we are going to focus on the backend, and we are going to implement the logic in the user's controller. So here, let me collapse these guys. And have one for the following. Then my async handler function. So let's look at the steps. Step number 1 is that we want to find the user who is trying to follow the other user. And step number 2 is get the user to follow. Then step 3 is that we are going to update the followers and following array of the two users. For step number 1, we can get a user from the rec.user because we are going to put this one behind authentication. And then get the user to follow. For this, we can get a user from rec.params as an ID. So let's focus on step number 3. So here, let's bring await and then the user.find by ID and update, which is this one. Before we continue, let's look at the user model. We have, which is this. We have what is called followers and following. So over here, we are going to update the user who is following another user. So here, you're going to find the user as rec.user. That is the login user. And then as a second argument, is going to be the field that we want to update. In this case, we want to update the following field of the login user. Remember, this is a login user. We are going to put the ID of the user that the login user wants to follow. So here, let me get the followed ID here, which is equal to rec.params. Let me pass in the rec and then the response here as rec.params. And here we have access to the follow ID. And let me get the user here as const user ID is equal to rec.user. So here I'm going to replace this one to the user ID. Alright, so now I want to update the following field of the login user. And for this, we are going to use what is called MongoDB operator. So here as $add to set. And here is going to be an object. And on that, we have the following field. And we're going to push the follow ID, which is this. Let me explain what is the add to set. Add to set works like push method in JavaScript. But for add to set, in case we have a user in the following field and the user is trying to follow again, there will be no duplication. That's the purpose for the add to set. So this means that we are pushing the ID of the user that I want to follow into the following field of the login user. And as a third argument, provide new to true to have the updated data. Awesome. I think I need to bring this one here, supposed to be this. After the add to set, let me have some space here. And I start. And after this, pass new. So it's supposed to be this one instead here, comma, and I start. Supposed to be comma here. Alright, so now we are done with the first part. The next part is that we are going to update the user who is being followed. And it's going to be the same process. So copy that, paste it, but over here, we're going to find the user by the follow ID. So here as follow ID, and here change this one to followers and push the login user ID into that. And that is it. So last step is that let's send some data back to the user as rest.json and provide message. We will say that user followed. All right, so let's get back to the router and mount it. So here as router users, and paste that is going to be put method because we are going to update the user, and here as follow and then colon the follow ID, and change this one to follow user. All right, so let's get back to Postman and test out. So I'm gonna copy this and change this one to follow user. The endpoint here is going to be follow-user. Let me check the endpoint well. Yeah, just follow, and then the ID of the user that I want to follow. And I'm gonna use put method, and let's go ahead and try out and see the error. Well, the server is not running, and let's see, we got route not found. So here, let me provide some ID, and better still, users follow and follow ID still is not found. Let's see, it's supposed to be here as that, the column supposed to be here. Yeah, so here it means that we have to provide the rare ID of the user. So let me go to the MongoDB dashboard, and right now let me log in as Thomas. At the moment I have logged in as Thomas, and I want to follow Masintech. So let's check the DB and users here, and let's see for the, this is Alice. Yeah, so I think I have Alice here, and to make our life easier, let me delete all the users and let's start from scratch. All right, so here, let me close these guys. And back here, I'm gonna register as Thomas. Perfect. And register as Masintech. Change this one to Masintech also. And register. Awesome. So now I'm going to log in as Masintech. So let me copy this and change this one to this and remove this. Now I have logged in as Masintech and I want to follow Thomas. So let's check the DB. Let's refresh, and users document, we have two documents. Now Masintech want to follow Thomas, therefore Masintech need the ID of Thomas. So here I have copied that, and to follow, provide the ID of the user that I want to follow and send. As you can see, user followed. Now if I refresh, let's see, supposed to be this, let's see Thomas on the followers array. As you can see, now this is the followers of Thomas, meaning that Masintech is following Thomas. And if we check Masintech, we're gonna have followers of Thomas. Awesome. Now the backend logic is working for the followers. What has left is the unfollow. Let's continue in the next video.